Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya yato anvayaditaratascha artheshu abhigyaswarat Tene Brahmahridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakohakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Nigamakalpataror Galitam Palam Shukamukadamrita Drava Sanyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha. We now enter the 43rd chapter of the 10th Skandha of Bhagavatam. We are now in the wonderful Mathura Leela of Krishna. So we saw how in the last chapter the amphitheater was made ready and everybody came to the amphitheater. Kamsa was having bad dreams and bad omens all night. And then he woke up anyway and came to the amphitheater and took the royal seat. Everybody took their seat. The wrestlers, Chanura and Mushtika, they all were ready. And now Shuka Brahman continues and says, Krishna and Balaram, they also get ready from where they are. They take a bath, clean themselves up, and then they hear the loud noise of the stadium. There is all the sound made by the music. So we hear that even now, all of this has been happening even thousands of years ago, where kettle drums are played and people play all kinds of loud instruments and the wrestlers are making noise. So there is a din raised. So Krishna and Balaram go towards the sound, go towards the amphitheater, which they anyway visited the previous day. It says, Ata Krishnascha Ramascha Krita Shuchau Shauchau Parantapa. So Krishna and Rama, here Rama is always Balaram. So Krishna and Balaram cleaned themselves, Krita Shauchau, and then they went towards the place where the sound came. Nirghosham Shrutva, that is the great sound that came, the great tumultuous noise came from the wrestling arena. So they went there. And then once they reached the entrance, Krishna saw there right away at the entrance the huge elephant Kuvalayapida. So we remember this. Kamsa had arranged for all this. He had kept the elephant Kuvalayapida, the most gigantic elephant of his entire army. And he had also told the elephant, the one who takes care of the elephant whisperer, to instigate the elephant to attack Krishna. So it says here, Rangadwaram Samasadya Tasmin Nagam Avastitham Apashyat Kuvalayapidam Krishno Ambashta Prachoditam. So Krishna, Ambashta Prachodita means, Ambashta means the one who is the elephant whisperer, the one who takes care of the elephant. So he, Prachodita means he instigates this elephant Kuvalayapida. And Krishna sees this, so he tells the elephant driver, he says, oh man, don't block our way because this will not be good for you or the elephant. And of course, the elephant driver is not at all listening. He has been told by Kamsa to instead attack Krishna through the elephant. So he goads the elephant even further to go and attack. And the elephant is now with lot of fury being goaded by this man and therefore charges Krishna. So Krishna instantly sees the elephant charging and then he slips away from the trunk of the elephant and goes between the legs of the elephant. So immediately the elephant is confused and it is wondering where is Keshava or Krishna, and it's looking for him, and then finally through the scent it finds Krishna between his legs and then tries to catch him. Krishna escapes from that as well. And then suddenly Krishna, through his yogic power, expands his strength to become so mighty. And then he is able to, with this might, grab the elephant from the back by its tail and then simply throw it away. So that is the power that Krishna is able to manifest. So what is unthinkable is done effortlessly by Krishna. Shuka Brahman says here, just as Garuda, the divine eagle, would grab and throw a cobra, similarly, Krishna grabbed effortlessly this huge elephant because he grew in strength so much as needed. So Krishna, that is why always he manifests whatever strength is necessary in response to the demon who comes, but also he becomes soft like flower when a devotee comes. So Krishna simply reciprocates the mood of the one coming to him. So here he is demonstrating such immense strength, and then with this strength Krishna starts whirling the tail of the elephant, pushing him left and right, and the elephant is very confused. This mighty, huge elephant is being whirled like he has never experienced, and he's trying to catch Krishna, but Krishna is never able to. He's never able to catch Krishna, and then Krishna runs in front of him. He pretends like he's falling down. The elephant is very happy to get him and he escapes. So he's playing with the elephant for some time, and then eventually he decides this is enough. So he simply approaches the elephant and catches hold straight in front with all this mighty power. Right in front of the elephant, he comes, catches hold of the very trunk of the elephant, and hurls him down to the ground. So this is the power which is unimaginable. It says here, Tam apatantam asadya Bhagavan Madhusudanaha Nigrihya Panina Hastam Patayamasa Bhutale. Madhusudana, another beautiful name for Krishna, he simply takes the elephant and drags him down. And not only that, after the elephant has fallen, Krishna climbs on top of him like a lion, and he extracts the tusks out of this elephant. So the tusks are pulled out, and thus the elephant is killed. So the first job is done. The gigantic elephant Kuvalayapida is killed, and then Krishna enters the amphitheater with the tusk in hand, with Balaram next to him carrying the other tusk. So everybody is shell-shocked just to see that, because they all know that Kuvalayapida is at the entrance. Kamsa especially knows this, and even others saw this huge elephant. They did not know Kamsa's plan, that it was meant to attack Krishna. They just saw the huge elephant, and now they recognize by the tusk Krishna is carrying that the elephant has been killed. So everybody's jaw drops. Krishna is carrying the tusk on one shoulder, and the other tusk is being carried by Balaram on his shoulder. Krishna is looking so charming. There are even some drops of blood of the elephant on him. His sweat is there. His beautiful decorations are there. The tusk is there. Everything makes for the most charming and most heroic look for Krishna. And Balaram is next to him. All the cowherd boys are next to him. And as soon as Krishna enters the amphitheater, it is said that everybody perceived Krishna according to their mood. So this is the beauty of how it is true with all of us. The way we relate to God is how we perceive Him. So here it says, as soon as Krishna entered the amphitheater, the wrestlers saw him, and the wrestlers immediately saw him as like thunderbolt who's going to attack them. Whereas the men in the stadium, though the spectators, they all saw him as the most ideal, strong man. The women, on the other hand, saw him and they were instantly attracted by the beauty of Krishna. They were captivated. They were, in fact, so much in love. Everyone fell in love instantly. The cowherd men that were there, they felt oh, here is our Krishna. They felt he is one of them. The princes that had come, they saw him as someone they are envious of and who could punish them, because the many princes were invited by Kamsa and they all saw Krishna, and they naturally, because of their position as a prince, being threatened, and so they were seeing Krishna with envy and afraid that he will chastise them. Whereas the parents who were there, we can remember that there are 4 parents here right now. The biological parents Vasudeva and Devaki are there, and then the foster parents Nanda and Yashoda are there. 4 of them are there, and on top of that, many people who are at the age of the parents are there. They all saw him as their little child with love. And Kamsa was there, of course, and he saw him as death personified. People who were ignorant saw him as just a physical body, young man with a physical body who was looking like just a not so fully grown man, because Krishna was still adolescent in age. And the yogis that were there, they saw him as the supreme being, and the devotees that were there saw him as the highest divinity. So that's how Shukabrahmam describes beautiful verse here. He says, Mallanam Ashani Nrinam Naravaraha Strinam Smaro Murtiman Gopanam Swajano Asatam Kshitibhujam Shasta Swapitro Shishuhu Mrutyur Bhojapater Virad Avidusham Tatvam Param Yoginam Vrishinam Paradevate iti Vidito Rangam Gatasa Agrajaha. So Sa Agrajaha means with his elder brother Balaram, when Krishna enters the stadium, everybody had a different outlook. So this is why each one relates to Krishna with their own mood, and everybody is attracted in their own way. So as Narada said once in the 7th Skandha, even the ones who envy him, even the ones who are afraid of him, they are also drawn to him and they cannot think of anything else. That's the power of Krishna. So here the princes are envious and they cannot take their eyes off of him. Kamsa is fearing him. He's seeing him as death personified and he's not able to take his eyes off of him. The wrestlers are seeing him as someone who's going to vanquish them, and therefore they are not able to take their eyes off of him. The women, of course, are so attracted to the beauty of Krishna and they cannot take their eyes off. The men are seeing him as a man's man, as a real hero, and they cannot take their eyes off. There are some yogis in the stadium who have been invited and they see him as the supreme being correctly. There are many who are surrendered unto him as devotees who see him as the supreme Lord. And then the cowherd men see him as their own, and the parents see him as a little child. It is said that parents, no matter how old the son is or the daughter is, they see them as their own child. So in this way, everybody was looking at Krishna in their own mood, but nobody was able to take their eyes off of him, drawn to him like a magnet. And they all recognize that the elephant Kuvalayapida is killed, and and Kamsa especially recognizes that, seeing the tusk on their shoulders, and so he's terrified. And they are looking so charming, though. They are wearing beautiful jewels, they are having beautiful garments, garlands on their neck, and they have beautiful sandal paste on their body, and they are well decorated in an excellent garb, and on top of that there is the elephant tusk on their shoulder now. So with all of this, they were looking so charming. And everybody, the people in the city, the people who are from the country who have come to the city now, all of them are seated in the galleries, and everyone's eyes and faces, it is said, was blooming with ecstatic joy. They were simply drinking the beauty of the face of Krishna and Balaram and not satisfied. It says, Praharsha Vego Utkalite Kshananaha Papurna Tripta Nayanaistadhananam. So there was no satisfaction, na tripto, no satisfaction by looking. They didn't even want to blink, and they were not, no matter how much they looked, they were not satisfied. They wanted to keep on looking, and it is as if they were consuming Krishna's beauty in every way. They were drinking Krishna's beauty with their eyes. They were tasting Krishna's beauty, as it were, with their tongue. They were inhaling his beauty with their nostrils, and they were holding his beauty with their arms. So beautifully, Shukha Brahmam says, Pibantaiva chakshubhyam, lihantaiva jihvaya, jighrantaiva nasabhyam, shlishyantaiva bahubihi. So they felt like their arms were embracing him, they were next to him, they were inhaling the beautiful fragrance of him, they were literally tasting the presence of Krishna and drinking his beauty. In this way, everyone there was completely in total communion with Krishna, and they were completely put in that state by his beauty, by the excellence, by the loving disposition, by the bravery. Everything made them completely arrested. Their mind was totally arrested. It says here, Uchuf parasparam tevai yatadrishtam yatashrutam tad rupa guna madhurya pragalbhya smarita iva. So by their rupa guna madhurya, that is by their form, by their attributes, by their beauty, by their valor, all of that made them completely, the mind was completely arrested. Their mind was still in simply watching them, Krishna and Balaram, and they started talking among themselves about what they have heard about them. So they started speaking to each other. So one said that actually this is Krishna and Balaram, or expansion of Narayana. It's Narayana who has come as Krishna, and it is his expansion which is Balaram, and they have appeared in the house of Vasudeva. So some have correctly figured out, just by looking at this, that Krishna is none other than Narayana, and Balaram is the expansion of Narayana. So they say, Eto Bhagavataha Sakshad Harer Narayanasya hi avatirnavi hamshena Vasudevasya Veshmani. So they say they have appeared in Vasudeva. So this news is spread somehow. So some of them are already aware and they are whispering, see, these two boys are born to Vasudeva. They have come back after many years. And we can see there, see in the gallery, they are pointing and showing Vasudeva and Devaki sitting there. They say, see, they are sitting there. They are the parents. And these two are none other than the Supreme Being and his expansion. And then the another one says the younger one, Krishna, is in fact the son of Devaki who was taken to Gokula because of Kamsa wanting to kill him as a baby, and then he grew there incognito in the house of Nanda. So they say there that so all of this story is being talked among them. So the other person says, yes, you are right. I have also heard that when he was born, he was taken overnight by Vasudeva to Nanda's Vraja and dropped there. And that's where he grew up all these years incognito. And now he has come back because Kamsa himself found out and then invited him. And then the other ones, they talk about all his glory. So the news has spread to them, all the beautiful pastimes Krishna did in Vrindavan. So they say, did you know that he actually ended Putana, the demoness who came when Krishna was a small baby, a few days old, she came to feed him poison from her breasts and she was instead killed. Then the other says, yes, there is also the other demon Trinavrata who came in the form of a whirlwind wanting to take Krishna away, but he was also easily choked and killed. Then each of them talk about one demon. They are also excited, talking about just as even today in a sports stadium, if a great hero comes, all his stats are being discussed. This is nothing compared to Krishna because Krishna's stats are all divine. And so they are all talking about his divine stats, and each of them is describing all his great pastimes. They say, look at this. Not only this, I heard that he killed a demon called Keshi who came in the form of a horse. Another says he killed a demon called Dhenuka who came in the form of a donkey. Another says he also killed a demigod called Shankachuda. Then one says not just that, he in fact uprooted two trees. So they refer to the Damodar episode where Krishna crawls between two trees and uproots the two trees to Arjuna trees. So one says he uprooted two trees as a young boy. Then another says he in fact, not only that, I heard that he rescued the cowherd men from a forest fire. And then one says he subdued the snake Kaliya, the Kaliya snake that was poisoning Yamuna. He jumped into the river and he subdued the snake and drove him out of Yamuna. Another says, what is there about Kaliya? He even subdued the pride of Indra himself. When Indra poured down deluge on Govardhan, on Vrindavan, he lifted Govardhan and left it up with just one finger for a whole week to protect all of the residents of Vrindavan. And in this way, every single pastime of Krishna is being discussed beautifully by all these city dwellers now. They are all recounting all that they have heard. Each one, not all of them have heard everything because this is all coming through hearsay. So they are all sharing among each other. This is what I heard. What did you hear? And in this way, they are discussing with each other the great pastimes that Krishna did. And then one also says, not only all this, these are all great pastimes indeed, but the women there, one of them says, the cowherd women, do you know what grace they felt? Because by simply his glances, he captivated the hearts of all the cowherd women. And then he was always cheerful and he embraced them and he gave them the highest ecstasy. So, in this way, the women were discussing the great pastimes of Krishna with the gopis. And therefore, they all declare that this boy is certainly come to enhance the glory of the entire clan of Yadus. And Balaram, his brother, is no less. He is also looking like so divine with his lotus-like eyes, and he has also killed so many demons, we have heard. So in this way, they are discussing among each other very beautifully. While all this is happening and trumpets are blowing, Chanura, the main wrestler, he approaches Krishna. So Krishna and Balaram are now in the middle of the arena, and Chanura, the wrestler, approaches and he tells Krishna and Balaram, he says, hey Krishna, hey Balaram. He says, hey Nanda Suno, hey Rama, Bhavanto Veera Sammato. He says, hey son of Nanda, hey Ram, that is, hey Balaram. I've heard that you both are great heroes, Veera Sammatau. I've also heard that you are all very skilled in wrestling. So accept my challenge now, because he is already, as we know, Chanura and Mushtika have been told that your job is to approach Krishna and Balaram, engage them in a wrestling match and kill them. So looking at them, looking at the size, Chanura is very overconfident because he is a huge wrestler, and Krishna and Balaram are of a very regular size, and they are looking very charming and beautiful, but they are not size-wise anywhere like Chanura and Mushtika. So Chanura is very overconfident. He says, I know that you've all practiced wrestling. He in fact makes fun in his own sarcastic way. He says, I have heard that when you were going into the woods with the cows for taking them for pasture, you would wrestle with the boys. So I know that you are all great experts in wrestling. So let's see what you got. And we will do this because the king wants to see us wrestle. It is only correct that we obey the king's order. So he is confidently and sarcastically saying that whatever wrestling you have practiced with cowherd boys, it is nothing, because I'm here a professional wrestler, and let's see what you can show. So this way he is inviting in the way of a challenge. And Krishna also pretends, Krishna very beautifully, this is the mischief of Krishna always, he always engages such demons. It is said, there is a beautiful song in fact, where it is said that every demon Krishna allows him to play for a little bit, and then he finishes him off at the right time. So here also with this wrestler, he allows him his ego for some time by saying, oh, we are just people in the woods and we are very young, so we are not your equal, and so indeed we are all subjects of the great king Kamsa, therefore we have to do what pleases him, but let there be a fair match because you are also big and we are just youngsters, so we should be fair. So Krishna innocently and very mischievously tells him as if he is not a match for Chanura, and Chanura's ego is even more puffed up. And Chanura says, now finishing him off is very easy. And so he says, you are not a youngster, you are not a lad, and your brother Balaram is also no ordinary being, because we see that you have killed the elephant Kuvalayapida, who is very strong. So it is certain that you are capable of fighting me. He says, Na balo, na kishorastvam balascha balinam varaha, lilayebo hato yena sahasra dvipat sattva. So he says, this Chanura is looking at the fact that the big elephant Kuvalayapida is killed. So he tells Krishna, you cannot be that weak also, because you have after all killed this elephant. So you cannot plead that you are not a match. In fact, this is a fair match for you and I to fight here. And similarly, Mushtika here can fight with Balaram. And that way we can also please the king, because the king is very eager to see this fight. Therefore, you have to contend with powerful rivals, and that will be the right thing to do. So let's see what prowess you got, and let Mushtika also show his prowess with Balaram. So in this way, Chanura and Mushtika, they are getting ready to fight with Krishna. So just as moth comes to flame to die, everyone comes like this. And now Chanura and Mushtika, they were given an opportunity by Krishna by saying, you can back off, but he didn't listen. He was in fact puffed up, and so Krishna played with him, but then he only felt more arrogant and he said, you have to fight me now. So now Krishna and Balaram will oblige by fighting the two, which will come in the next chapter. So in the next chapter, we'll see Krishna taking care of Chanura and Mushtika, and then eventually the king Kamsa himself. So that will be the next chapter. So for now, we have seen Krishna and Balaram enter the arena and getting ready for a great wrestling match. And one important thing here also is how sports like wrestling are very important in engaging the physical aspect for Kshatriyas. And this has been always encouraged, and therefore how these kinds of contact sports have been played for thousands of years can be seen. And that is what Krishna demonstrates here by engaging in wrestling. We'll see the wrestling match next chapter along with the death of Kamsa. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.